Hey guys, coming into my review for a show that I was quite interested in, definitely from the previews, especially when I did the summer TV shows. This show I was very interested in. I definitely was looking forward to seeing how it was going to be, and finally it came onto Netflix yesterday, and that is the new Netflix series Lady Dynamite. I was really interested in this. The preview really looked genuinely funny. I liked the story that was being told. I thought Maria Bamford herself looked very funny, and I was really hoping this would be good. And like I said, Netflix, I think, has done a very good job with taking shows that would be kind of just too weird for major networks and putting them on Netflix where it really does belong, such as Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, or even Love, really. I mean, is not your typical romantic comedy, and that's one of the reasons why I think Lady Dynamite is another one of Netflix's best shows. I already love this show. This show had me dying at points. Overall, I really love where we were headed with this show, but let's get to the plot of Lady Dynamite, which I really do love the plot of this show overall. I think the plot here is really great. Basically, we are focusing on Maria Bamford, who is playing herself. Now, I don't know if the story told in the show is real or not, but basically, 6 months, Maria has been in this psych ward because she actually has bipolar disorder, and she's been trying to recover from bipolar disorder. Well, in the show, she's now returned there, and basically she's trying to start out her life again because a lot of things went wrong, and she really wants to turn things around. You can tell she doesn't have a lot of friends. People have really isolated her, and really the only friend she has is her agent, and like I said, she really wants to kind of build that life again, while we see flashbacks of what went wrong and what happened to her in her time away and in the psych ward, and that basically is the plot of Lady Dynamite. I really do love the plot of the show overall, and there are a lot of things that really work very well here. And by far, though, the one thing to definitely talk about here is the cast, because the cast, without a doubt, definitely makes this show. Prior to Lady Dynamite, I was not familiar with Maria Bamford. I'm sure she's been in something that I've seen. I just can't really think of what she's done. I know she's a stand-up comedian, but I really give her a lot of power for being the show because she clearly is making fun of herself in many ways. I mean, what I love is that they do take this subject seriously. You can tell that Maria's been through a lot of trauma in her life. She's isolated herself from a lot of her friends. A lot of people think she's crazy, which she's really, they're not wrong, because there are some points here where she really is crazy, and the things she does, she's quite erratic, things like that. She's making these really quick decisions without really thinking them through, and there's just a lot of things that, are wrong with her, and I think she really did a great job in this show. And I don't know if the story being told here is necessarily true, but Maria Bamford really kills it, and, a big part of comedy is laughing at your own pain, and that's exactly what Maria Bamford here is doing, because I believe she does a bipolar in real life, and if she does, I think it's a very interesting struggle we see her have. She's also hilarious. Most of her jokes I loved here, especially the beginning of this show is her pretending to be in this like hair commercial. It was probably one of the funniest scenes in the episode, without a doubt. I loved seeing her overall, I love seeing her overall personality. I think she's really quirky. She's really different, but she definitely, it's a good kind of different. It's not a bad kind of different. It's a different that I definitely, really did, enjoy, and I think overall she was really great. She can really carry the show very well, and she, without a doubt, is one of the best things about the show. But now let's get to the rest of the cast, who I think is just as great as her. They really all do a very good job in this show. Fred Melmeled had me dying in tears at points. I mean, going into this, I didn't really know who the rest of the cast was, besides Maria Bamford. I didn't really know who Maria Bamford really was. In fact, the only person I think that's really that normal is Anna Gasteyer. I think she really is the only one that, is not normal. When I say normal, I mean, like, well-known. There are, of course, guest stars here, but the only, like, really, I think, well-known actress is Anna Gasteyer. Apart from her, everyone else is really unknown. But Fred Melmeled is probably one of the people that have me absolutely dying in the show. There's this early joke on with him in the beginning where he has this glass table and there's a crack, and holy shit, I was literally in tears with that scene. But what I love about his character the most is that he sticks by Maria through this entire thing. Even after she's got back from that psych ward, he wants her to go back into acting again. He wants her to get a new gig. He wants to get her a new gig. He wants her to be doing new things, and you can tell that she really is trying to, rebuild her life, but she's also trying to look at things realistically, and I really did enjoy the way that dynamic those two have. And I think, deep down, Bruce himself, Bruce's character, he knows shows that Maria, it's not exactly, easy for her to turn her life around, but I definitely really did like seeing that. I like seeing their dynamic that they had, and definitely I think it's going to be one of the best parts of the show. That one scene that he had in the episode where he's crying because he thinks that he's going to lose Maria to Karen Grissom, played by Anna Gasteyer. Hilarious scene. Love the way that was done, and I love seeing the past Bruce as well. The way that he kind of ruined things for Maria, though, I definitely, well, not necessarily ruin things, but his advice to her definitely isn't the best. It shows that he isn't, the best person to get advice from either. I thought he definitely did a very good job, and those two overall, for me, are the thing that definitely makes this show. Definitely, I really enjoyed, the way that was done. As far as the rest of the cast goes, everyone else was really great. I really like Mary Kay Place in her role as Marilyn Bamford, who, it's not Maria's real mother. I think it would have been cool if they did that, but this clearly isn't her real mother, so again, it kind of makes me think the story isn't true. I feel like it's partially true, but I don't think that Maria Bamford actually went to a psych ward. I just don't think that really happened. But Mary Kay Place here, I think, was fantastic. You can tell that she really does want to stick with Maria through this, even though she knows that there's something is wrong with Maria. She's very supportive of her daughter, and I definitely really like seeing that. I think she did a very good job. And then Anna Gasteyer, I thought was very good in her recurring role. I'm looking forward to seeing how Karen and Maria's friendship grows overall. And then some of the other characters we had, like Maria's friend Larissa, and then Dagmar. I'm looking forward to seeing really what the kinks in that relationship really were and what the problems were there. Because clearly, this is a friend that really does care about Maria, but they've had a lot of problems, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what that was. As far as Maria's love life, we kind of get some insight in this episode that Maria used to have some sort of a love life, and now she really doesn't, and I think that's very interesting as well. And then Patton Oswalt was also very funny in this episode. I definitely really did enjoy him. Overall, I think the cast here is great. One of the best things about the show, and definitely they're the thing I think that makes the show so great. The directing here. The tone of the show is very dark at points. This is very dark comedy, definitely. This isn't a show, I think, it's not necessarily lighthearted. It's very surreal at points as well. Like, there are things where it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, and I definitely really did appreciate that. She's not afraid to do some surreal imagery, and I really did enjoy that. I thought that was very well handled. I like seeing the tone of the show, I think, is very fun. And the show itself is very funny. It had me laughing so many times, and probably one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. I really love the comedy in here. I really love the jokes in here. It's very different, but that's something I really do love, is that she's not afraid to go into some really dark humor and some really weird humor as well. I think a lot of people won't get. In fact, that first scene, I didn't really understand it at first, the first time I watched it. I might have just been dumb, or maybe I wasn't focusing, but then I'm like, that's hilarious. There were some scenes I had to play back twice just because I was dying, but I didn't really know what was so funny about it, and then I had to play it back. And if that's what the show is going to be, I really love that. And there are some scenes I watched twice specifically, like that table scene, for me, the funniest scene in this episode. I watched back almost 3 times. It was so funny. I love the way that was done. The screenplay here is great. I really do love the story here because, like all great dark comedies, they take this material seriously. They really do. The fact that she was in this psych ward, yes, it is kind of low-key, but when we get to those flashbacks, we really do see what she went through and that she really did have a hard time. Her father clearly was not really afraid of her, that's not the word, but he did have a hard time, dealing with her, definitely. I think we definitely did see that here, and I thought that was very well done, and I think the screenplay here overall, very quickly witted, and I like overall the story that we had in this first episode, that Maria wanted to build this bench to bring people together. Now, did it exactly work? No, her friends kind of are still not really talking to her, and it didn't really work in the way she wanted to, but in the end, people tore down the bench together, so she kind of got something out of it. You can tell that anything bad that happens, she tries to turn around. That's something I definitely really did like seeing, and a lot of this, I believe, is written from Maria Bamford. Is her own personal material, which is why I feel a lot of the show is based on her personal pain, which I think is really well done. Speaking of the teleplay, another one of the best things I love about the show is the fourth wall dynamic. I mean, there are a lot of ways this could go wrong. It's been done so many times, but this show just gets it right. Maria Bamford is so odd and so different that it would only make sense for her to talk directly to the camera, and the way that she just randomly does it, it's not even like a gimmick. She just randomly does it out of nowhere. You don't expect it at all, and the way the show starts with her literally getting on the Lady Dynamite bus and people telling you have a show to do, I think was an awesome way to start the show. I love the way it's shown. It really shows how quirky and fun the show is really going to be. I definitely really enjoyed that. And also her basically telling us, look, we're going through 3 different time periods. This is why we're going through it. I think was really cool. I definitely really love that. And she's already a great narrator. I really love that they do that. But again, they didn't do it too much. They only do it 2 times in the episode. And I'm pretty sure we're not going to get it a lot, but it really does just work because of how different she is and how eccentric she really is. Her breaking the fourth wall gimmick doesn't feel like a gimmick at all. In fact, it just feels like another part of her personality, which is something I absolutely love. The whole idea of her being positive and trying to get through that pain and kind of laughing at herself. That's a perfect way they did it with the fourth wall dynamic, and it's one of the best things I think the show did very early on and perfected, I think, it more and more as the show goes on. The cinematography, I think, is great here. The editing was very good. If I had one problem this episode, is that I did feel was a bit too long. The story, I thought, was really good, but there were some things that dragged. Like, a lot of the Patton Oswalt scenes really did drag for me. I really enjoyed the scenes between Maria and Bruce Bacharach. I thought those scenes were very funny, but there were a lot of scenes I think that definitely did drag. I think the flashbacks are really great, but like I said, some of the scenes between her and Patton Oswalt, it's like, all right, can we just... I just thought 35 minutes for a first episode, it's a lot to deal with, and it's not as bad as the Love pilot, which I still think is a very good pilot, definitely, but this pilot wasn't as bad as that. It definitely had me dying at times. I really enjoyed it. Overall, I really do love this show. I can already tell I'm going to get addicted to it. I would definitely recommend you guys check it out. Now, I will say it's not for everyone because, like I said, it's very different kinds of material. There's a lot of things in this first episode that I don't think, people will enjoy as much. Also, the main plot of this episode is about her getting into Mark McGraw's good graces. That's really not the plot of this episode. It's more of her just building this bench to bring people back together. That really is what I think a better description was. That's a complaint on the description of the plot, and really it's just a nitpick, and it's really not a problem. But overall, I really recommend you check out this first episode. I overall really do like this show. I love the intro as well. The intro, I think, is fantastic. It's one of my favorite parts of the show. Unfortunately, I can't find it anywhere because it's so quick, but I really do love the intro. It shows how weird and different Maria really is and things like that, which I really do love. But unfortunately, it's not on Netflix now, so that's why the intro was not in this video. This is probably the first review I've done in a while where there was no video, in the intro or anything like that. But overall, guys, you guys saw this first episode, love your thoughts in it. I'm hoping that this show does get good reception, because I feel like it's gonna be one of those shows that's on Netflix but not a lot of people watch, just because a lot of people aren't interested or they're turned off because of, some humor and things like that. Really, I'd say watch the first episode and then really decide. Don't just watch a scene then turn it off. Watch the first episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I definitely really did enjoy where we're headed, and I think it's gonna be a really great season. I'm definitely gonna binge this, I think, very quickly. Mainly because I have almost nothing on TV, really, except for Sundays. The only things on this week, besides, stuff on Sunday, is The Flash and Arrow. Other than that, that's really it. So I think I can get this done very quickly. No matter if you guys saw this first episode, if you are, are you looking forward to, were you looking forward to this show? What do you think of it overall? You're going to stick with it. And I will see you guys next week, which will be for tonight's episode of Outlander, which obviously I'm really looking forward to, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.